What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the VP Show, and welcome to another edition of the DropKick Podcast. You're gonna see this interview with the Wrestling Classic. This is actually part 2. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. Part 2. We split it up into 2 parts. Part 1 is already up. It's on the DropKick Podcast playlist, and it's just the upload that was uploaded right before this one. So if you haven't seen that one, go check it out because this is part 2 of our discussion. We had such a good discussion with the Wrestling Classic, and it was very long because we really enjoyed it, so we decided we're going to split it into 2 parts. So make sure you check out part 1 if you haven't already, because I literally just split it in half and picked it up where it left off. So thank you for all the support, and make sure you enjoy.
But you're going to remember that for the rest of your life.
Right.
They called around you on Edge the greatest match ever.
So 10 years from now, we can be like, hey, you remember that, greatest match ever? And then, we
You know
reminisce
exactly
about
what
it.
you're talking about. Even if it wasn't the greatest match ever, because you wouldn't have, I feel like I've told the story 3 times, but I remember on a Wrestling Historian's page, I was in the story, and he posted a match from Extreme Rules 2017, which I know I watched that pay-per-view because I watch every pay-per-view.
Right.
And he posted this match of Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus Joe.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't remember this match at all. And I went and I watched it, and it was really good. And I'm like, I didn't remember that. So that's when I realized, it clicked in my head, I'm like, oh, them calling this the greatest match ever is just smart marketing.
It's smart marketing,
Yeah.
but, I think a portion of the audience wants to tune in and be like, okay, let's see if the shit the better, actually, deliver, but not, make it the greatest match of all time. And they did a good job. I would say, it was a good match. They had storytelling. They had really good spots, and Orton using the punch at the end. I don't know if you caught this, but there was a leg slap, and I popped for that. I was like, man.
I've actually been joking about that because I'm like, after he said all the leg slap stuff, he went 2 nights in a row leg slapping. But I'm like, in his defense, he has to for that move.
Yeah.
What he was complaining about is when you watch a match and it's like leg slap after leg slap after leg slap, super kick, super kick.
Yeah.
Then it's a different story, but
Right.
he does it for the punt? That's the only thing he leg slaps.
That's right.
I feel like Ciampa and Orton might be working us. I feel like they're trying to stir up some controversy that way when they finally have a match.
I forget, was he on After the Bell? He talked about it after. He's like, listen, I don't dislike Ciampa. He's like, I really like Ciampa. I'm just saying, if they're gonna work that car crash style, the careers are gonna be short. Look how long Orton's been wrestling for. Yes, he has serious injuries. He's probably one shoulder injury away from having to retire himself, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But he still has had a very long career doing what he's been doing. Well, a lot of these guys, Ciampa messed up his neck one more time. I think he's done. And how long has he really been in the WWE? 4 years, maybe?
4, 5, yeah.
And that's the point he was trying to make. I would love to see Ciampa versus Orton. He said that too. He's like, I'd love to work against Ciampa. Vince wanted me to work against Ciampa. He's like, I'm with it. But he's gonna be a little bit of a different style,
Right. Absolutely.
So But anyways, my point is, I would love to work for a company and help them with their social media and their marketing and stuff, because I feel like I also have a good grasp of I get it. People remember moments, man. They remember moments more than they remember matches.
You're right.
We live in a generation where everybody my generation grew up on moments and larger than life characters, but this younger generation is growing up on they want really good wrestling. But this is my beef with really good wrestling. We're spoiled. We get it on Raw. We get it down.
Yeah.
We get it on AEW. We get it on Dark. We get it on Impact. Sometimes we get it on all these independent companies. Someone's like, oh, watch this match from Progress. Oh, you got to watch this match from New Japan. So much good wrestling that none of it feels significant anymore.
Sure,
yeah. I agree for sure. That's why one of my favorite guys right now, probably my favorite right now, is Jon Moxley. Because, he has great matches, but also his personality is just so entertaining, and his feuds, his feud with Kenny Omega, his feud with Chris Jericho, it was so entertaining. Even with Brody Lee, I was entertained throughout the whole thing. And it's
you're invested in his character.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I always say this, there still are characters. Don't get me wrong. Bray Wyatt's a character. There's certain people Sasha. A lot of the women wrestlers are characters. You can describe them. But I'm always joking around. I'm like, listen, if I was watching wrestling with one of my friends that hasn't watched wrestling in years, and they're like, hey man, who's AJ Styles? And I wasn't allowed to use his nicknames. And and I just want to say beforehand, before you guys answer this, saying someone is a good wrestler is not a character. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a character. So how would you describe AJ Styles to someone, and you can't use his nicknames, and you can't say he's a good wrestler?
Ooh.
The fact that this much break the problem.
I mean, he adapts to every style. I mean, he's a bulldog.
That still has to do with his wrestling. You can use Pitbull. You can use Pitbull. That's what I was going. Like, I guess you could be like, Pitbull, like but I'm like, it's hard.
Mm-hmm. What was hard? It really is.
What was babyface Seth Rollins when he was the Universal Title champion without using his nicknames and
that's true.
Without
Workhorse.
Workhorse. It still has to do with his work, though. It's not a character. Describe what Bret Hart is. He's a workhorse. It's not a character. He's the Hitman.
Like you got the point. Like
he's
if
a fighting champion. He wanted to,
if they say describe Moxley, I'll be like, yeah, he's the crazy guy. Or if they say describe Bray, he's the creepy guy.
Even you can throw Roman at me, I'd be like, oh, dude, he's just a badass Samoan. Like this is something you can describe him as, but it's hard to describe some people, and that's a problem because people put too much value in wrestling. This isn't Japan. That works in Japan. I expect something different in Japan. They can get away with it over there because it's just a different feel. But when it's WWE, especially, we've grown. It's their fault because they have made us accustomed to thinking of them as entertainment.
Yeah. So
them giving us wrestling and not giving us those characters and stuff throws away. I'm like, listen, SmackDown's gonna start in like 20 minutes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, the Fiend's on. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, and Sasha Banks is on there. I look forward to that all the time. But other than that, I am like not worried. Like if we went overtime right now, like I'm not worried if I miss SmackDown. I'm okay catching highlights. Like I'm okay being like, oh, I don't need to see what AJ Styles is gonna do. I'll see what he does after the fact, and it's cool. Matt Riddle's coming. That's cool. I can check it out later. It's not like, oh my god, I'm so invested in Matt Riddle. I need to see this. Like I don't get that feeling. There's two things on the show that this is a rare week, but there's two things on the show that I am interested in seeing. Sasha Banks is always an exception, and then Bray Wyatt. I'm interested in seeing what he does at the Firefly Final. So this is a rare week where they actually have me looking forward to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff I do care about, like what's the follow-up of the Jeff Hardy Sheamus thing, but it's not something I feel like I immediately need to see. It's not must watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you go back to the day, and it wasn't. You didn't go into Raw or like Nitro being like, man, I can't wait for that match between blah, 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 blah. I can't wait. You want to see what type of chaos Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to cause. Mm-hmm. What The Rock was going to say if they gave him a mic. What the NWO was going to be up to this week. Where's Sting going to come down from afters? We were invested in the characters and the moments, and that made us watch everything else.
Right.
Some amazing match might have happened in Raw 4 weeks ago, right? So it was probably a banger. And after Raw, we're probably like, yo, that Andrade match with this guy, that was such a good match. Andrade McIntyre, such a good match, man. They killed it, won 3 segments, so good. I don't remember it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's out of my memory.
It was even that way. It's like, it's even a part. It's a part of it is even like a top guy thing because like, oh, I want to see what Stone Cold's gonna say. I want to see what Hogan's gonna say. What Rock's gonna say. We even had that with Cena. Like, whether it was some people like, oh, that match was amazing with Shawn Michaels, or oh, why did Cena win this match when he was on top? It was always, I want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, the Age of Orton. I want to see what Orton is going to do with his bald head and legacy. Evolution. I want to see what they're going to do. Kane took his mask off. I got to tune in next week. Let's see what happens with Kane. He took his mask off. Now it's Crazy Kane. They're good at it. That's what you expect from the WWE. I don't expect that from Japan. AEW is still trying to figure themselves out. From WWE, I think if they knew what they are, they've always, what people remember are the moments. People remember the moments. I post so many moments. I post beer trucks and Rock promos because that's what people remember. People do remember matches. They do. But what matches do people remember? They remember the matches that happened. The Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and
Survivor Series, maybe.
Survivor Series. Those are like the ones that they remember. And then they remember the matches that had moments. Why does everyone remember Backlash 2000 with the Rock and Triple H? Because Austin came out at the end and the place went nuts. Judgment Day, same thing. Why do we really, really remember that match? Because Taker returned. Like, I mean, who remember moments, dude? Why do you think everyone remembers King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell? Because the guy got thrown off the top.
Mankind, yeah.
The things we remember is because we were invested in the character and the moments. We don't remember really good matches all the time. You got to be like a really hardcore to remember every single match and shit. Like, but on that same card, Chris Benoit fought Jericho and it was a banger. It probably was. You're probably right, but I forgot about that. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
I should go back and watch that. You're right. That's a really good match. But I don't remember that. I remember Stone Cold coming back at the end or something.
Yeah.
I feel like they lost that, and I think that's the thing where why sometimes I get that question like, oh, do you think wrestling's ever going to be as big as it was? I'm like, I don't know, because they don't care about that casual fan that's tuning in for the characters. They care about We are catering too much to the wrestling fan, and that's
For
just
sure.
going to leave you with the wrestling fans. Why did it blow up in the late 90s? Is because, why did it get into pop culture so much? It was because they were larger than life characters.
Right.
In the 80s, they were larger than life characters. In the 90s, they were larger than life characters.
Mm-hmm.
In the late 90s, the mid 90s is kind of weird, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It was all about character work, how that kind of, progressed over the years. You saw The Undertaker with the purple glove, and then he became this, like, Ministry of Darkness, and then, it takes years, man, to really perfect some, sort of.
That was one of the reasons I started to really dislike John Cena, because at one point, so he was Thugonomics. No, he was Blue Tights.
Blue Tights, right.
He was Thugonomics John Cena. He was Marines John Cena. And then he went, like, full jean shorts and just changed the color of his shirt. And the one thing I used to hate, I'm like, this guy never changes anymore. A lot of the guys I loved growing up, they adapted. They changed, Savage, robes, this, that Savage, to Macho King, to, now colorful cowboy hat. Like, he adapted, changed. Take is the perfect example, changed so much. Jericho's a guy that had so much longevity. Look how many times he's changed himself. Piper, whether it's just changing his hairstyle and his look, like changing your look, changing your presentation, I think that
always
really
helps.
matters. Going babyface and heel, like I think there was Bret and the Hart Foundation, then there was Bret coming up as a single star, then he was our fighting champion, then he was anti-America Bret. Like, you need to change, you need to adapt.
Sure. Yeah,
that's what keeps people behind you. I wasn't the biggest Cena fan. That's why I think I'm a big Orton, Edge, and Batista fan, and those type of guys, because they were the guys that weren't John Cena. Because I felt like I was a Cena fan. I love rapper John Cena. I was hyped when he won the title at WrestleMania 21. I was with it. And then, like, 2007 to, like, 2011, like, can somebody just, like, get rid of this guy? Like, nah. His promos are all the same. He still comes out there talking normally, cracks some jokes, and then he starts yelling at me about something passionate, and then he comes back down. It's just the same promo, no promo. He starts bringing up kids and charity and stuff. Like, what are you trying to suck me in here, kid? Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just over, and then he wins. He beats everybody. I'm like, I hate this guy. Get him off my TV.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Listen, I've learned to respect the hell out of John Cena. Now that I'm old and more mature, I look at him like, dude, if I ran a company, like, I'd want that guy I would hire him. Like, he'd be my idol.
Yeah.
I respect everything he does outside of wrestling. No, 2011ish, he started putting people over, like Punk and Bryan and Owens.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, he's putting people over now. This is good. But there was a point. He's not a Cena fan. One of my big beefs with Cena was that he just never changed. His music never changed. His look never changed. All he did was change the color of his shirts and his wristbands. I was just like, this is the same guy. Yeah. He just kept doing the same thing over and over again. I actually wasn't a fan. So to that point, I think adapting and changing your character and doing different things is a big deal. Because I always say that my blackout years were like 2007, 2011. I only watched Raw. I didn't watch SmackDown all the time. It was on Fridays. I didn't watch every pay-per-view. I was a big Impact fan there in those years. But yeah.
Yeah, they were killing it. But another question for you. What advice would you give someone to, who's starting a Instagram page and who wants to grow their account to like how you did?
Okay, be consistent. Consistency is the biggest thing. I think that's just the theme of the show is to be consistent. There's this like culture right now of instant gratification that people want. Yeah. They start something and then they're like, why am I not getting these many likes? Why aren't people following me? Like, I need followers. Like, if you're doing it for likes and followers or for trying to like be something, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like if you guys are doing this podcast, other than the fact that you guys really like wrestling, you want to talk about wrestling, talk to people that are in the business, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like if you're doing it for that reason, then great. If you're doing it because it's about wrestling, you want to talk to people in the business and you want to hear different ideas and spread that out there, then that's the right reason to do it. But if you're doing this because you're looking to get 1 million viewers in the next couple of months and like you should have those aspirations, but if you're doing it because of that, those are the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because this since 2014, I say I didn't really take it seriously until 2016, but like, man, I had to like still like I didn't the follower thing was cool, but like, dude, I have 500,000 followers and sometimes can't even crack past 1,000 likes because I'll have I'd reach 14,000 people, but not everybody's liking the picture. It's annoying, you know what I mean? It's annoying, like, right? Yeah, I'm like, dude, I know you guys will see this. Why aren't you guys double tapping? Like, but I don't let that bother me. I've gotten said no. I've been told no 1 million times. Every time I start a new podcast, my viewership's not amazing. It grows over time. Everything grows over time. You got to be patient. You got to continue putting in the work, and you got to really be passionate. Like, you got to really want to do it and enjoy doing it to do it. Don't do it because you're expecting something out of it.
For sure.
Nobody owes you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody owes you. You're not going to get everybody's attention.
Sure.
Don't feel bad for yourself when things don't go your way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to roll with the punches. You got to stay consistent. You got to do the thing. And if you're really passionate about it and you love doing it, then you'll continue doing it through the good and the bad.
Sure.
If you're going to try to run a wrestling page or start a podcast or anything, just know that you're doing it because you're passionate about wrestling and you just want to talk about it. And obviously, like I said, there's a ton of people that have gone the negative route and gotten successful off it. But if I was to give an advice, like, yeah, have your opinions, be negative about the things you don't like, and share your ideas and your thoughts and all of that. But just try to be more positive, man, because we need more positive.
Yeah.
There's too much negative. So there's too many people trashing it. Like, we're not trying to not get people to watch things. We're trying to get people to watch it. I want it where it's 10 years from now, there's another wrestling classic somewhere, and there's still people talking about wrestling in a positive way, and they want to tune in and get tuned in. I want the less people being like talking about Alexa Bliss in bed or whatever. Like, that has nothing to do with nothing. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, like, I want it to be, you know, and also, like, just be open to helping people out and helping other pages. Don't be selfish, you know, and talk to people, engage with your followers, like, don't try to post things and, like, just don't go start a wrestling page and you post pictures and videos and that's it. You do it for the likes and like, engage with your followers, have conversations with them, ask them questions, jump on people's shows that you probably never talked to before just because, you know, you want to give them a break and stuff too. I'll tell you this, man. There was a guy that once followed my page. Okay, followed my page since the beginning. Okay, he's followed my page since the beginning. He dropped a comment one day on my page where he's like, "Yo, I was in college, and I was, you know, I was going through your posts and I was watching this Roddy Piper post and something just clicked in my head and I drove home from college and I told my dad, I'm like, I want to try this wrestling thing before I do college and give me 2 years. And if I don't make it work, then I'll go back to college." Because he was only like 20 or 19 years old at that time, or 21 or something. He wrote this comment on my page with bad grammar, by the way. He wasn't very good with grammar, but he's using the wrong pairs and stuff. But I have it screenshot and it's in one of my highlights, so you can see it. But I scratched out his name and stuff just for, you know, just in case he didn't want me to do that. But and then he's like, "Yo, like, your page was part of the reason why I left school." And I went to my dad and I told him I want to be a wrestler. Forward 2 years later, I see him on doing some stuff. He's actually doing pretty well. And now you can see him every Wednesday night on Dynamite. And I'm part of his story.
Wow, that's,
you know what I mean? Like, now, like, and now just me being gracious and like helping him out. I did a couple of interviews with him in the back in the day when he was just training and stuff. Like, and move forward. And I've done that with, and just me being open to people, like trying to share my social wealth. I'm a nobody, but if I can help somebody out, I'm gonna help them out. You know, there's Mariah May who's wrestling in England now, and she's getting, like, I remember when our first conversation, she told me I want to train for wrestling, and I'm like, you're gonna have a very hard time because you're an attractive female, and nobody's gonna believe that you actually like wrestling, which is a bad stigma. I don't know why there's this weird double standard that girls can't like wrestling as much as guys, or if they're attractive, they must not really like wrestling. Like, no, she was a huge wrestling fan, and I continuously put her ass over. I sent her a shirt. She was like one of the first people to rock a wrestling classic shirt, and now I'm not saying I deserve any credit for anything she's done. She put in all the hard work, but I mean, like, I was there to help her, and then we inspired each other, and like we were always like having each other's back when we had hard times and stuff.
Yeah.
Now she's killing it. Just be open to people, talk to people, give people opportunities, get off your high horse, and you never know, you might be engaging or helping someone out that in the future you know you might need a hand or something. They got you. You know, like, just be a good person. And that has nothing to do with wrestling or just like social media stuff. Like, just be a good person in life. Be nice to everyone, because you never know, like, you know, you might be helping out or inspiring someone that's gonna be doing great things, and you'll be like, man, so that's so cool. You know?
Yeah, it hits you, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, on our show, we really like to tap into mental health. So if you're comfortable, of course, you can elaborate on if you've ever struggled. But do you have any advice for any people who are watching that may be struggling?
So I have definitely struggled with mental health myself. There's been many times in my life I've felt depressed. It's weird. The older I get, my social anxiety is. You would think it would be the opposite, because my entire, like, I'll say this, like, without sounding like egotistical or narcissistic or anything, like, I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by people that always accepted me with all my quirks and weirdness, whether I was the wrestling guy or, you know, just Justin's Justin. Like, you know, everyone's listening to hip hop. He's out here listening to the Beatles. Like, anything that was different about me, like, it was always just accepted without sounding like an egomaniac. Like, I will say, like, I think graciously, and I'm very grateful for it, like, I've always been popular. I've never had that, like, I was never like the loner kid or something that didn't have a lot of friends. I grew up in the cul-de-sac, fortunately, and I had a lot of friends. I went to high school. The kids that grew up in the cul-de-sac were in the grades older than me, so I always knew everybody, and I was friends with everybody, you know, at all the parties and stuff. But I think a part of that had to do with, and it's hard. It's easier said than done, but I think I would say one thing that I learned at a very young age, and I think I still carry it with me when it comes to like bullying and stuff, is even if I did get bullied, I don't think I really picked up on it that much. And trust me, there was times where I felt like I was getting bullied and I got upset about it. I came home from school and I felt like shit and I didn't want to go back to school. Don't worry, I had my moments, don't get me wrong. But a lot of it is just not taking things personally and understanding and not getting offended by every little thing and understanding that sometimes people are rude or mean because they have stuff going on in their own life. And that's not your issue. Don't take offense to it. And, you know, just always have a lot of faith and belief in yourself, and things will be better. But as I've gotten older, contrary to that, I think I've become more of alone, and I like doing my own thing. And I don't like going to parties no more and stuff. And I do get social anxiety when I have to. And like, when there's a big crowd of people, I'm like, like what am I supposed to do?
Man.
And I tend to drink more, and then I'm like, I embarrass myself. But you know, I just think. I think it all just boils back down to, like, it's easier said than done, but just know that everybody's got problems and everything will pass. I can tell you, man, like, I've been through some stuff in my life where, you know, in the moment, it felt like the worst thing ever, man. Like, this is the worst that's happening to me. Like, my life sucks. I'm hopeless. Like, you know, what am I going to do? I've been fired from jobs, rightfully so. I got screwed over in school where I was on academic probation at one point. I like for dropping out of classes too many times in a row. Like I've never had it. I've crashed cars. I've lost my license multiple times. These are like the real life situations I've been in. I've been in really toxic relationships. One really toxic relationship, but like I've been in so many situations where I've ended up being really sad or depressed. You know, I got a lot of family issues. Like there's you know, addiction issues within my family very close to me that I have to deal with on a daily basis. There's a lot of reasons for me to feel upset or sad or get depressed. But if I can say anything, I'm telling you, like, once again, it's easier said than done. And
absolutely, man.
But I'm telling you, like, and I can't speak on all situations. Like, I've never been sexually assaulted or anything like that. Those are completely situations I can't relate to. So I can't speak to that. But for the situations I've been through where it seems like I felt hopeless or I'm going nowhere, things aren't going to happen, or if this doesn't work, like, what is my purpose or what am I doing, or I feel like a failure. Like, I've been through those emotions. I didn't know what I was good at. Like, you know,
absolutely, yeah.
Things pass, man. And I look back at things that I went through that seem to be negative things like 2 years later or 5 years later. I'm like, yo, like, I had to go through that to get where I am today. Like,
to get where you are. Yeah.
Good or bad that happens to you and the things you say, like, it's up to you to choose how you react or deal with
react to things, right?
You know,
absolutely.
like, it's up to you to choose. Like, if something bad happens to you and you make that the end of your world, that's you are your own worst enemy at all times, right? And listen, we all mope and get sad. Like, I always say, like, if something bad happens, I get like 2 days to mope and be sad about it, and then the third day I need to get back up and figure out how I'm gonna fix it and move forward, because I can't sit here and mope forever. You know, I have a really strong ethic of trying not to get addicted to things that are addictive. Like, I try not to drink. Like, if I get sad, I don't want to rely on drinking. I don't want to rely on drinking. Weed.
Right.
I don't rely on, like, I think I rely on food. That's bad, but that's a different thing. But like, I don't want to rely on things that can be really, really addictive. And like, I want to be in control of my life. I want to be able to say no if I don't want to. You know, I don't want to be people are drinking, now I need to drink too. Like, I want to be able to be like, today I don't feel like drinking. I want to have that willpower, because things, like, you just got to take control of your life. You got to take control of your mind. And you just got to know that things will be all right. And I'm telling you, when you go through something bad and you look back at it, I'm the type of person, I try to see the silver lining in everything. It could be the worst thing ever. Like, someone could have passed away, and that sucks. That's something you'll never get over, right? Like, if someone passed away, you'll never get over that. But I promise you, if you look back at it 2 years later, you'll be like, no, that person passed away. That meant so much in my life. But because that happened, I grew, and I learned from that. I grew, and
you evolved as a person.
Yeah,
right?
Because that happened. And because that person impacted my life so much, like, that's part of why I am who I am today. Like, there is a silver lining to everything that happens, even if it's really, really bad. Because the moment you stop growing, that's when you start dying inside. So you need to look at things and be like, okay, that was fucked up, but how did I grow from that?
Right.
Like, and there's a lot of good things, and it goes back to, like what I said, my best friend told me that one time, like, just make a list of all the good things that have happened to you. When you do that, like, yo, this wouldn't have like I wouldn't have been the wrestling classic if I didn't have a toxic relationship with my ex-girlfriend.
For sure. Yeah.
Like,
I think
the story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was in a toxic relationship. Deactivated my Instagram account, and I made a wrestling account. I wouldn't have been so successful with the wrestling classic if I didn't look at wrestling as a form of escapism for me since I was a child. Because I would have so many things happening around me in my house that for 2 hours I was watching wrestling. If I popped in a VHS tape, all that mattered was that world of wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 2 hours on Monday or that while I'm watching, like, fucking nothing else mattered. I want to know what was going to happen with Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man. I want to know what's going to happen with Bret Hart and Stone Cold. That's like everything leads up to everything else, and it all comes together, and you realize it's only up to you to make it what it is, but the bad stuff leads to good stuff. It's a part of your story. Embrace your story. Embrace the madness. I say it all the time because if you do, like, you'll find the silver lining in things, and it will be good for your own mental health. We're in a society now where it's a lot tougher because we have, like, listen, I didn't grow up with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat. We didn't have that when I was in high school. We literally did not have Snapchat when I was in high school. It came after. Facebook came out in 2007. I graduated in 2009. We had to phone people or go to the house if they wanted to come play outside.
Real phone, right?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? I had to ask a girl out in person or over the phone if she wanted to go on a trip, and just texting and hoping, like, I'd rather get ghosted on a text than doing what we had to do when I was a kid. You know what I mean? That was more mental situation. Imagine asking someone out in person, they said no. You're like, oh, okay. Like,
right?
It's a lot more comfortable if someone says no to you over a text. Like, well, fuck that person. You know what I mean? Like, we had way more things to be mentally fucking stressed out about back in the day. Like, the pressure of having to go to, like, social interactions, and back in the day, like, you guys have it easier, but I also see how it's harder because people can be a lot more mean and cruel over social media and never actually confront you in person. So it's a different time. There's different reasons why people have mental illness in this area, because I think there's a lot more of, like, proving it. Like, here, this is a touchy topic, but, like, this whole Black Lives Matter movement that just happened. I think a lot of people probably got mentally affected because they were getting called out for not talking about it, using their platform when they should have. I agree, everyone should have used their platform and done what they could have. But the people that felt targeted and felt like they were getting mentally attacked because they didn't want to, like, that's not fair in a sense. You know what I mean? You can't attack for not doing something. Yeah. Like,
for sure.
I think there's a lot of pressure now because of social media and how connected we all are to be a certain way and act a certain way and agree with certain things that you might not agree with, but now you're forced to agree with it. Like, listen, I agree with it, but I'm sure there's some idiots that don't. But it's not up to me to, like, force them to agree with something. Like, if they're racist. Like, I hope they would do the research and educate themselves and understand why they're racist.
Right.
But I'm not gonna, like, bully them to the point where they want to kill themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what happens with social media now. Like, a lot of indirect bullying and it is harder. So once again, that goes all the way back to the thing I said first. You got to learn to not take things personally. You got to learn to not get offended quickly. And, just, you got to believe in yourself, know who you are, know who you truly love and who you're surrounded by. And anything bad that happens to you, man, there's a silver lining when you look back at it years later. Like, you'd be like, I'm the person I am today because I went through that shit, because I had to grow up faster because of this, or, that thing really pissed me off that one time when that person treated me that way, and I'm not going to be treated that way ever again. And it's because of that. If that didn't happen, maybe I'd let people start walk all over me and shit. Like, everything leads to something. So do your best to think and talk to people. I think it is a big deal to talk to people. I think I'm a bottler upper, but have friends that you can talk to, call somebody to talk to. If you need to go see a counselor, do it. Like, there's no shame in that, man. You gotta let shit out. You gotta express it. You gotta be able to cry. You gotta be able to, like I said, you can have those couple of days to let it out. Cry if you have to cry. Do whatever it takes to make yourself feel better, but you gotta keep the ball rolling. Life only moves in the direction that's forward, and you want to move with it. There's
Absolutely.
no in the past, but there's lots you can learn from it. And if you need to let things out, let it out, man. Let it rain. Fuck it. Who cares? who are you trying to impress? Like, who are you trying to be a man? Like,
there's it's so, society, expects, men to be like super strong. There's like this stupid stereotype. It's like they can't cry, they can't, do all this, feminine stuff. And it's just like,
don't be a cry baby, but
don't.
I need to let it out. Like, I mean,
right?
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to see a dude stub his toe and start crying. Like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, chill. Like, you know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel you, man.
It's okay to cry, man. It's okay to let your emotions out, man. I've cried a ton of times, man. There's a lot of times where I just like broke down. I'm like, man, there's too much going on. I can't handle this. Like, from personal stuff, from trying to do this to trying to be this person, trying to be a good friend, trying to be a good son, and trying to be a good boyfriend, and trying to be a good brother, and trying to be a good influencer with the wrestling class, trying to do all these things. As soon as I get overwhelmed, I'm like, I don't even know, and I want things to happen, and they're not happening. Like, why are these people not responding to my emails? Why aren't I giving these opportunities? Like, what happens if this doesn't work out? Like, what happens if the wrestling class doesn't work? Where do I go from here? Like, there's lots of things for me to be stressed out about, but at the same time, you got to keep rolling with the punches, man. You got to keep positive. You got to cry sometimes. You got to let it out. You got to have someone that you can just, like, I have a friend where, like, I'll message her sometimes, like, listen, I don't even expect you to reply. I'm gonna write you like a paragraph right now of me venting, and just disregard it, read it if you want. It's for me to let it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I trust her enough to just
absolutely.
Read it. If she wants to respond, she will, and she'll be whatever. But if she just reads it, I'm like, it was just for me to vent. Like, I just need to get it out, and I trust you. So here's my bullshit. I know you don't even understand half these things that have to do with wrestling, but here's my bullshit. Thank you for listening. And we're good now. We're good because you just need to let it out. You know what I mean?
For sure. Right.
And it is a really big deal to be surrounded by people that you can trust and you love and you can actually talk to. Because if you feel alone, like, and I open my DMs up to my followers. I'm like, if you really feel alone, you just need to vent. Like, I don't have all the answers, but if you just want to vent to me and you want to complain and you want to air your grievances with me and you want someone to just have empathy for you, like, I'm here for you guys. Like, shoot it, man. Like, I'll tell you.
Sure, man.
And it's a flaw of mine, but sometimes the only way I can console people is telling them my own experiences and how I can kind of relate to them. Some people don't like that because they're like, oh, you're making it about yourself. It's not me making it about myself. I'm just saying, I understand because, like, look, I went through this. This is how I came out of it. Take from what you want from that. If you feel like, no, man, that's a totally different situation. Hey, man, I tried. But that's just the only way I can tell you, like, hey, listen, I get it. I understand that. I understand. Some things I totally don't understand, and I have to be like, yo, I don't even know what to say. Like, if there's anything I can do, like, like, I don't know what to do in that situation. I've never been in that situation, but my DMs open to people. I read all my DMs. I don't accept everybody's DMs. I don't let everybody just because I've done that, and then they get a little overboard and they don't know boundaries, and it's like, dude, I gave you the access to do whenever you want, and
can't
now
take advantage of that.
We're gonna talk every day. Like, I don't like, I don't know, man. That's why we have comment sections. If you have an opinion, comment it, and I'll comment back, and let's talk with everybody. My DM's open, man. Like, I know it's hard. It's hard to be. I think it's so hard to be a teenager today compared to when I was a teenager. I think it's so hard to grow up in a society where, likes and being popular on social media or posting the right pictures matters, or if something's happening, like, you need to be involved because now you're on a platform. Like, why aren't you saying anything? Like, it's tough, man.
Right. It absolutely is. Yeah.
And then you can't avoid politics no matter how hard you try. Like, it's out. Like, people want to know where you stand. It's tough today, man. Like, it's my heart goes out to you. It hasn't gotten easier. It's gotten harder for the future. The youth. Yeah.
But taking this to a little positive note, not everyone gets to meet their heroes, but for you met one of your heroes, Bret the Hitman Hart. How is that from an experience standpoint, being a fan and then actually getting to interact with him and getting him to wear your merch along with, his son Blade? And
I think, like, you asked earlier, like, what kind of things hope you wake up to continue doing this and, like, you know, be passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I doubt myself or I think this is going nowhere, I'm like, man, like, this is, you know, the Wrestling Classic doesn't even make me enough money sometimes, or like, I don't even, no one's giving me an opportunity, like, nothing's ever happening. Something cool will happen. Something cool will happen, and I'm like, yo, that's so cool that I, like, the fact that I can do this, or Bret Hart's wearing my shirt, like, something that will happen, and it reignites my, like, oh, there is a purpose.
Yeah.
So, you know, it doesn't even have to be something like that. It'll be something where, like, I'll get, like, a really nice DM from a follower or something that says, like, you know, your page means everything to me. Like, I look forward to what, like, shit like that even means a lot to me. But
sure.
Initially at the beginning, the whole Bret Hart thing was a big deal for me. Like, I met him when I was a little kid. Well, I went to go meet him with my brother and my mom, my sister when I was a little kid, and I cried the entire time because I was nervous, and I never even got to meet him. I have, like, an empty 8x10 that's never got signed.
That sucks, man.
And my brother met him and this and that. And I just remember, like, I was there. I saw him, but I never, like, took a picture with him or, like, even went up to him or anything. And I was, like, a little kid. I was nervous.
Yeah.
I never thought I was ever going to meet Bret again. And, you know, like, it was never... I know, like, I never said never, but, like, I didn't know when it was going to happen or if it was ever going to happen. Like, I was, like, 6. It happened then. You know, he went to WCW. Like, then he retired. And, you know, I didn't know if I was ever going to go to, like, a meet and greet or something. Like, it never, like, comprehended in my head.
Never hit you.
I went to WrestleMania 19. I never went to another WrestleMania till WrestleMania 32. Just because, you know, I just never seemed to be the situation. I don't know. I'd love to go to, like, every WrestleMania those years. It just never seemed like that was the trip I was going to take, you know, with my friends.
Right.
Like, it just, being the Wrestling Classic gave me more of a reason to make sure I was trying to be at every WrestleMania that happened. But, to that point, so I went to WrestleMania 32, and then I missed WrestleMania 33, and I hated myself for missing WrestleMania 33. And then WrestleMania 34 I went to, and then once again, very last minute, I tried applying for Media Row. Sheamus was trying to help me apply for it. Like, he's like, I want you to be there. I want you to be at media and interviewing us and stuff. Like, we get sick of having the same people interviewing us all the time. It'd be nice to have someone fresh and, like, you're a good guy. You promote wrestling in such a positive way. Like, I'd love, on behalf of us, like, I'd love for you
Absolutely.
That'd be so cool.
Right.
He genuinely was trying to help me. Like, he was, like, connecting me with the main PR guy. Like, he gave me his email and the phone number. He was calling the guy for me, being like, hey, have you got back to the Wrestling Classic? Like, I don't know if I should be saying this stuff out loud. He might get mad. I don't know. But, like, he is a good person. He was genuinely trying to help me.
For sure.
So if he gets mad that I'm sharing this story, I apologize. But I'm just sharing it to give people an example of how good a guy Sheamus is and why I ended up there. And it makes the story more complete. So he's like, dude, so I got the no. They're like, no, we can't accommodate you, right? Like I said, I get a ton of no's. So the WWE people are like, no, we can't accommodate you this time. We apologize. So for me, the entire time, I thought I was going to go there with Media Row, which, if that's the case, then you know your hotel, your accommodation for a hotel and stuff is actually taken care of. Your ticket's taken care of. You just got to pay for your flight. I didn't find out I got the no till the week of WrestleMania.
Wow.
So WrestleMania's on Sunday. It wasn't till, like, Tuesday afternoon. They're like, they sent me an email like, we can't accommodate you. I'm like, well, I'm now going to have to fork out all this cash to go to WrestleMania last minute. I don't know if I can do that. Like, mostly with the exchange rate. Like, I'm Canadian. Like, it's not like my money's an American. Every $100 is $130. You know what I mean? Like, wow. If I'm going to book a hotel for $200 a night, that's literally like $300, $330 a night for me. Like, it's messed up. So, and the Sheamus is like, no, he's like, just try to make it out. He's like, just try to make it out here. Bring a suit. I'm going to have you come to Media Row with me, so you can meet these people in person, shake hands and stuff. But once again, if he gets mad that I'm sharing the story, I apologize. I'm not trying to throw your name out there, but I'm just trying to tell the story exactly how it happened. So I did. I packed a suit and everything. I packed a bunch of stuff. I'm like, I guess I got to go out there. I had a friend who was going there with his friends who I've never met before. Till like that, I think WrestleMania weekend. Like, I met them that Friday, the week before. And, well, I guess I didn't know that I wasn't accommodated 2 weeks before WrestleMania, but it was still very last minute, okay?
For sure.
Because I remember that Friday, I hit up Mitch, he's my buddy, and I'm like, yo, I know you're going to WrestleMania, I know you guys already booked a room and anything, I'm more than happy to pitch in for the room, can I just crash with you guys, because the hotel prices now are ridiculous. Like, it's last minute, they know there's WrestleMania in that city, they all crank their prices because they're like, if any idiots try to book last minute, we want to make sure, you know what I mean? Like, our business, I get it. So like, all the hotel prices are cranked now. I'm like, I'm already paying for a flight that's way overpriced because I'm coming all the way from Vancouver on the West Coast to New Orleans. I'm like, this is expensive already. I'm like, I'm down to pitch in for your guys' room. because I already knew there was a bunch of them in there. Can I just crash with you guys? I'm like, dude, I'll sleep on the floor. Like, let me just crash in you guys' room. I'll pitch in.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, don't worry about that. He's like, don't worry about pitching in. All you got to do is make sure there's beer in the room at all times, and you can crash in. I'm like, I never met his friends. That Friday, Mitch was also an independent wrestler. He was wrestling his last independent match because he was going to stop doing independent wrestling to focus more on MMA and stuff. So he was having his last independent match that Friday. That Friday, I went to that show, and that was the first time I met his friends, the people I was going to crash with. Like, that's how much I was going above and beyond to make sure this shit happened. First time I ever met these guys, we got along, thankfully. And then the next week, I flew out, and I stayed with them, and I slept on the fucking floor. They didn't give like an extra bed or anything. I literally had like a chadar, like a blanket, and like a pillow, and like another blanket. That was my bed. You know, there was no couch or anything to sleep on. There was already 4 guys crashing in the room, 2 guys to a bed. So in those 2 beds, so like it was already a packed room. Like I'm very grateful for that. So I go out there, and I'm in New Orleans now. I got a place. I bought a WrestleMania ticket, and I bought a flight. And I didn't have tickets for Raw and stuff, but luckily, you know, certain people took care of that for me, which is I appreciate it. That's great. You know, I went to Wall Mania the first time I bought a ticket for that. Like, it was a very last minute trip. Like, I wasn't meant to go. It wasn't going to happen. I thought the moment I got the no, I'm like, I guess I'm not going to WrestleMania again. This sucks so much. But something in me was like, I got to go. The Sheamus thing was like, now we really got to go.
You have to, yeah.
I wake up that, I think media I came in Thursday. I was there Friday. Saturday morning, I think, was media, and it's really early in the morning. It's like 6 a.m. You got to be there, this and that. My buddies all kick it to WrestleCon. And I'm like, I'm going to stay back because I'm supposed to go over there for this media stuff. You guys go do your thing. I'm going to hit up Sheamus to see what the plan is. He hits me up and he's like, yo, usually they do it at the arena. And it's really easy to bring people with you, but it's at the hotel this year and I'm getting pushback. So I don't think I'm going to be able to come. He's like, I'm really, really sorry. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it hits you, man.
I was like, I thought this is a plan. So like I unsuit up. I threw on like a Wrestling Classic t-shirt and jeans. I threw on like I picked one of my chalk line jackets and it was a Bret Hart Austin 1 WrestleMania 13. I just threw that on. That's when I first met AJ and they were doing a thing about vintage tees. So I was like, you know what? I'll go to WrestleCon. I'll meet up with AJ. I'll do her spot for vintage tees, even though I didn't make it on the documentary. And then I was supposed to meet up with Danial Monet anyways, Summer Rae. We were supposed to meet up at some point that weekend. So I was like, you know, she's there. I'll go meet up with her and we'll go, you know, we'll swap shirts because that was what we were planning to do. She's going to give me one of her shirts. I was going to go one of mine. I'm like, we'll go do that. I'm like, I'll just go to WrestleCon. I'm like, whatever, I'll go meet up with them. I had no intention to go to WrestleCon. That was never in the books. I thought I was going to still go to the media row and, you know, hang out with Sheamus and kind of shake hands and stuff. But it didn't end up happening. And I go to WrestleCon. And like I say, something bad happens. I get really upset about that. I could have been like depressed and like, I'm just going to stay at the hotel room now, drink some beers, just chill. Like, this is fucking annoying. Like, no. I was like, whatever. Let's make the best out of a bad situation. Like I did this entire time. That's bad situation after bad situation after bad situation. That's me just trying to make the best out of it, right?
Yeah.
So then I go to WrestleCon and I'm just there and I'm like, well, now I'm here. I paid $40 to get in this place. Might as well go meet some people. You know what I mean? I saw Ric Flair. I helped Ric Flair's social media people for a bit with his social media, like sending them videos to post and stuff like that. And so he kind of knew who I was. And this was 2018. He just had that house scare in 2017. So I'm like, let's go meet Ric Flair. You know, went up there, met Ric Flair, paid the $60 or whatever it was, got a picture with him and stuff. It was really cool. He's like, his wife, remember me? She's like, oh yeah, you sent us shirts, like like that's so dope, like this and that. And I'm roaming around, and then I saw Bret was there. I'm like, man, Bret's such a long lineup, like such a long lineup.
Yeah.
And he kept like getting up, leaving, and coming back. And I was like, man, I'm like, should I go meet Bret? I'm like, that'd be so cool. Like I messed up when I was 6. Now I'm 26. I'm in New Orleans. I'm like, it's been like 20 years. I'm going to go meet Bret, right? I walked by and I kind of like flashed my shirt. This is one of the best flashes. He would point at it. I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy. Once stood in line. You know, my buddies already kicked it because they were already there for like 2 hours. I think they moved on and went somewhere else, but I was still there by myself now. And don't get me wrong, I made so many friends through social media stuff. They were all there and stuff too, so I was still like hanging out with people and stuff. But and I was friends with a ton of the wrestlers at this point too. But anyways, I'm standing in line. It's so hot and sweaty in that place. They always make these conventions in like the smallest room with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
And, you know, there is that stereotype. A lot of wrestling fans don't know how to wear deodorant, which is true. But but I'm standing there and stuff, and I'm like, I had no idea. I'm like, I'm just gonna go meet Bret. I have no intention of how this is gonna work out, like what I'm gonna say. But I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna meet Bret Hart. And there's a guy behind me. He's like, oh, yeah, like, I'm so excited to meet Bret. And he's like, talking to me. And I'm talking. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm so excited, too. And I told him the story. I'm like, trying to meet him when I was 6. Cried. Didn't even meet the guy and stuff. And I'm like, it's weird now because I'm like, I'm literally friends with his entire family. I literally asked him to give a shout out to one of my friends for his engagement, and he did it. Like, we know of each other so well, but I've never met him. Like, I've talked to him, I've talked to his wife, I've talked to his kids, I've hung out with his kids when they came to Vancouver. I took him out in the town. Like, I've done podcasts with his son Blade. Like, I'm so close to the entire family, his daughters, his sons, and everybody, but I've never met the guy. And I tried to meet him when I was 6, and it didn't happen. And the guy in line was like, oh, so you plan to get your jacket signed? That didn't even click in my head. Like, I forgot I was wearing a Bret Hart Austin jacket. That's my favorite match of all time, but I forgot I was wearing the jacket. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's such a good idea. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get the jacket signed. I'm like, oh, this is dope. You know, and then I'm like, maybe one day I get Austin to sign the other side, which I still got to do, and I'll frame it or something. But, so I'm standing there. Bret kept getting up and going. So that's the reason. Another reason why his line was barely moving. He kept getting up, going to the washroom or getting water, and then coming back. He just kept leaving and coming back. Maybe he was trying to get air because it was so hot. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
At one point he walks by, and there is a part of me that sometimes I've grown up. I'm more mature and I know how to manage it more. But when I was a younger teenager, so I really didn't have a filter, and I have no shut. Like, I have no shame. Like, I just do things and see what happens. As I'm older now, I know. Pick my spots and stuff, you know, like, don't just blurt out things, Justin, you ain't in trouble. But he walked by, and I was just like, you know what? He noticed me when I showed my shirt. So I'm like, I'm just gonna crack a joke. I'm like, hey man, I'm like, you keep leaving, this line's barely moving. And he looked at me and he kind of laughed. And he was like, why are you standing in line anyways? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, come with me. Took me out of the line, took me right to the front.
Oh shit! Oh, that's so good.
Entire line. I'm like, what the hell? And everyone's like, what's this guy? He's like, no, I know this guy. He's allowed to come up there. Didn't have to pay for anything. I didn't even offer him. Like, I'll still pay. He's like, no, don't worry about it. He's like, you're like a part of the family.
Wow.
This is like a guy who I cried when I met him when I was 6. Now he's kind of like treating me like he's known me forever. Like, he's treating me like we're friends. I'm like, yo, this is so weird. And I'm sitting there, and he's just like, Jack's like, you know, like, he's like, oh, Dallas told me he had a good time when he came to Vancouver, and you took him out and stuff. How'd your friend like that shout out for his wedding or whatever? Was your family like, oh, that's so cool, it's awesome, he's signing it. Yeah. So legally, I think in their contract for WrestleCon, like, they're just required to sign their name, and that's it. They're not. He signed his name, and then the lady tried to pull away the jacket, and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, best match ever. Like, he signed something extra on there, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And like, and then he like spent some time to sit there and talk to me, and like, this huge ass lineup. I kind of felt guilty. I'm like, oh man, like, those huge lineup. He's like, yeah, this and that. I was like, no, it's a pleasure. Thank you for always helping out. Like, you know, you're always promoting like my merchandise and this and that. It's just like, he was being super cool. And I walked away, and I'm like, yo, wow, that, like, what a way to come full circle. Like, I ever tried to meet this guy.
Yeah.
I didn't even take a picture with him or get his autograph. Now he's pulling me out of the line, letting me skip line, spending extra time with me, talking to me like we know each other.
Yeah,
like, that's wild. All because of his Instagram page. Right. And how about, like, this wouldn't have happened if I didn't try to plan this last minute trip, planning to just show up. You know, not taking the fact that I wasn't able to go to Media Row personally and just trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Like, all these lessons that I've given you guys in this episode, this podcast, this Bret Hart experience is why all those things have worked for me. For sure, I could have sat there and cried about the fact that I never met him as a kid and held that to a bad regard. But now, like, this moment wouldn't have been as cool as it was if that didn't happen today. That was a shitty thing that happened. But looking back at it, the silver lining was that happened, and it made this story so much cooler and made this mean so much. You know what I mean? I was gonna, you know, sit in my sorrow that I couldn't get into Media Row with Sheamus, and I went on Bourbon Street and just decided to drink my day away and just F it, like, screw the wrestling world, just suck it, why'd I even come here? I wouldn't have gone there and met Bret Hart and Ric Flair. Right. You know what I mean? That would never have happened.
That would never happen. But I think the universe kind of plans these things out, and, like, some things are just meant to be, you know, so.
It worked out better. Like, I would have went to Media Row, probably would have shook some hands. Maybe something could have happened. Maybe. The thing is, I'm not gonna dwell on that. I'm not gonna sit and be like, talk about the what ifs. I don't know. Right. Something could have happened, maybe. It didn't, though. And something else happened, and it was cool. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it was just as cool, and it probably wouldn't have happened if I went the other way. And I think that's me trying to, you know, always trying to look for the silver lining, always trying to keep a positive attitude about things, and just being like, you know what, man? Shit happens. Life goes on, and, you know, you got to roll with it. You got to embrace the madness. You got to, obviously, mope, be sad if you need to be sad, cry if you need to, but just keep rolling, man. You got to keep going. Life moves in one direction. It only ends the moment you give up on yourself. That's it, man. If you give up on yourself, then that's the end of it. But don't, man, because I've been around people that I felt like they've wasted so many days of their life, either just being drunk or in sorrow. Like, don't do that, man. Live every day, man. Live while you're alive. Take advantage. Every day.
Absolutely. Right.
Like, I don't even know what I'm doing on this podcast. I was like, let's do it, man. Let's rock and roll. What I'm gonna do today. Like, just make them like this. Like, for anyone that's listening to this, I've never talked to you guys before until today. Like, we briefly talked. We've DM'd each other.
Yeah.
DMs, yeah, I DM'd.
You've been in my live streams, but we've never talked.
We never talked, right?
And moving forward, I'll probably talk a lot more because now I feel like I know you guys. You got to step out of your comfort zone. You just got to do things. You just got to show up places. You got to bet on yourself. You got to not take things personally. You got to look for those silver lines. You got to stay positive. You need to embrace the madness, man. You just got to do the thing. And
absolutely.
Some things won't work out, but trust me, they don't work out for a reason. And that's for you to make that. You make that a thing. Like, you know, you can have things not work out and make it a negative thing. But if things don't work out and you reason why that didn't work out for a reason, trust me, life's a lot better when you look at things in a more positive way.
Absolutely, man. I agree. 100%.
Definitely. 100%. So to wrap things up, we always like to play a game with all of our guests. We're going to list off 10 people, and you can describe them using one word.
Oh, man. Word association.
Let's do it, man.
All right. Macho Man, Randy Savage.
One word?
One sentence, whatever.
Or one sentence.
One word. I like the one word thing. It makes it hard. Favorite?
Wayne Gretzky.
GOAT.
Absolutely.
Shad Gaspard.
Oh, man. I don't know if the word describes him, but for me, I'm going to use the word grateful. I'm grateful because I'm grateful I got to know him. And he gave me an opportunity. He believed in me, so grateful.
Sure. Chris Van Vliet.
Oh, man. Inspiring. I like his story. He inspires a lot of people. He inspired me too, man.
Yeah. MJF.
Asshole.
The Singh Bros.
Determined. Two of the most determined guys I know, man.
Yeah.
To make shit happen. The man. He's that guy. I love Jinder, man.
Oh, yeah, man.
Just even as a human, he's just a man. He's like, if he wasn't a wrestler and like I still grew up in the same area as him, I guarantee you we'd be friends.
Natalia.
Sweetheart, one of the sweetest.
Owen Hart.
Oh man, he's like, I can't think of a single word, but gone too soon. He's someone that, man, what he could have been if that didn't happen. You know, just one of a kind, man.
Absolutely.
Underappreciated at the time, I think too, man, because Bret was around, but he like the man. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Lastly but not least, the great Bret Hart.
Hero. He was my childhood hero, man. I wanted to be like Bret. I love Savage. I loved Undertaker, but I wanted to be like Bret.
But speaking of Bret, you know that commercial where like Bret's walking down the ramp or something, and Bret, like commercial. But what's next for the Wrestling Classic? For the people who may be watching and they may not, be familiar with you, what do you have to say to them?
If you enjoy wrestling, you want to discuss wrestling, you want to talk about wrestling, you want to talk about what's happening as it's happening, like what's happening after SmackDown today, this and that, or if you want to talk about old school stuff and you love nostalgia and you love seeing rare pictures and videos of things you might not remember or you do remember and you want to share with your friends and stuff, that's why the Wrestling Classic, I think it's a hub of everything wrestling, and it's just to get people invested, and it's the greatest form of athleticism, and let's talk and let's keep it alive. Let's keep our culture alive. Let's keep the wrestling culture alive. The hip-hop culture is so strong. People that love sports are so strong. People that love comic books and stuff, their culture is so strong. Like, why is there so much negativity in the wrestling culture? Why are we always trying to bash and bring it down? Let's bring it up. Let's all chill. We're one big family at the Wrestling Classic, and come join the family, man. Come hang out and let's do the thing. For me personally, like I said, I think the Wrestling Classic it's going to be stuck with me forever, and I'll always be the Wrestling Classic. And I hope to continue to keep doing the TWC show and keep having more casual conversations with people and, putting people on the spotlight and, people that might be the future in wrestling, other people that contribute to wrestling, or showcase people that people might be surprised that they're even wrestling fans at all. Like, what? I didn't know this person was a wrestling fan. But yeah, they are, man. They got their stories and stuff too. I want to continue to be able to talk to people and talk about wrestling with the shows, the podcasts, and all of that on YouTube and all the places you can listen to it. And last but not least, like I said, like I'd love to somehow be more involved with wrestling, be able to help some promotion with their social media and creating content and engaging with their fans. I think I bring a lot to the table in that sense, and I'd be able to just, I'm someone that's a part of the community, I think, who has a great relationship with the fans and people within the business too, that I think there's a lot I can bring to the table, and there's some really creative content and stuff that people would want to see, and I know they want to see it because I know what the fans want to see, man. I know what they want to hear. I know what they want to hear wrestlers talk about. They want to see wrestlers talk about the stuff they grew up watching too. They love it, man. Like, we're all just a bunch of fans, so like, let's all connect. I don't like don't get me wrong, WWE does a really good job with their social media. AEW does a pretty good job for a company that just started, but there's companies out there, man, their social media sucks. I'll be blunt, man. Like, I don't even know what they do for their social media. Like, what does MLW do for social media? What does Impact really do for social media that's really effective? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but I'm just saying, like, I know I can help you guys. Like, let me help you guys. I mean, the WWE doesn't really need it. They got a great social media team. I love those guys. They're dope. They're killing it. I know the stuff I could do with them too, don't get me wrong, but they don't necessarily need me. They'd be doing me a favor more than I'm doing them a favor. But AEW, with them, I still think there's things I could do for them that would be really cool. I think they're doing a great job already, but I think there's more we could be doing, I don't know. I don't know what's next for me. I don't know if an opportunity is going to come my way, but yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me, what I want to do.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join our podcast for this episode. And where can we find you on social media?
The Wrestling Classic on Instagram, TWC Worldwide on Twitter, The Wrestling Classic on YouTube. Honestly, if you follow me on Instagram, you click the link in my bio. There is a link to everything else you need, twcshop.com and everything else. The TWC show, like I said, every Saturday on Dash Radio at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. It is there first on the Dash Talk X channel, but after that, you can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those places. Make sure you subscribe, leave us a rating, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. I mean, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just subscribe. Subscribe and support me as much as you guys can.
Subscribe to your boy. Let's get it.
And, yeah, man, that's all the places you can find me.
All right, well, man, thank you so much, and take it easy, man.
Thank you guys, man. I appreciate it.